Welcome everyone to another session of International Capital Movement meant for CA Intermediate. This is the last topic of chapter 4. But before we begin, a very critical, important announcement for you guys. CA Unacademy has started with the iconic program, which is a flagship program for CA Intermediate students. Obviously, it is also available for foundation and for your finals. Clear. What are the advantages? You get all the advantages as you get in a plus membership, but additionally, what you get? There will be one-to-one personal coaching, one-to-one doubt solving session. It means you can interact individually with the faculty to clarify your doubt, and the faculty will, explain you everything. Your answer sheets will be evaluated by the experts. You'll obviously receive printed books. Industry experts will be on several occasions they will come and they'll give you vital insights into the world of CA, and additionally there will be a Discord channel where the community members, the students and the faculties will be discussing a lot of things related to the subject matter. So obviously live classes, but you can watch this recorded session as many times as possible. There is no limit on how many times you watch the recorded session. Weekly tests will be conducted, unlimited access and structured courses. Now, what I like in the iconic program is that there will be a three-pronged approach as far as mock tests are considered. First, upon the completion of 40% of the subject, a test will be conducted. Then, upon completion of 80% of the subject, again a test will be conducted, and finally, when the entire syllabus is complete, full-length mock test will be conducted. It means you can prepare in a very structured manner and also gain confidence as and when the syllabus gets over. Alright, test will be followed by analysis and detailed evaluation of answers by subject matter experts. There will be detailed evaluation, and personal guidance and feedback will also be given to each and every student. Clear. Now, as far as subscription fee is concerned, for 24 months if you take, the longer the duration, the lesser will be the per month charges. These are all per month charges. These are the absolute value for the entire duration. So for per month, 24 months if you take subscription, it means the videos will be available to you for 24 months. You have to pay 2583 per month. For 12 months it's 3188, and for 6 months it will be 5000 per month that you have to pay. Now there is also a combo subscription available for those who are interested in both CA and foundation. So for 24 months, for which you have to pay 2750, and for 12 months you have to pay 4125. But doesn't matter which course, which subscription you choose, you can choose according to your convenience. Do not forget to use Yeshas Live as the code, because you will be given additional discounts over and above the rates mentioned already. Clear? And one more information, there will be a scholarship pool which has been created by Unacademy with a corpus of 1 crore rupees, and students who are going to appear for 2022 and 2023 examination is meant for them. Enrollment is free, so you can enroll from 24th of October onwards, for which you have to subscribe to the Unacademy app. And please do not again forget to use the lesser Yeshas Live code. Now let's begin. International Capital Movement. Now remember, this thing I'll be sharing with you in your Unacademy Telegram group. We are going through a process of globalization, and in the last 50 years this process has aggravated. Today no country can say that I'm self-sufficient. There is a dependency created of one country over another, not only through exports and imports, but also through the flow of capital. Because it is easier for a company to go to the host country with their capital and enjoy the benefits given by the government in that country and produce there, because in the process they're cutting down all the additional cost of shipping, insurance, warehousing, freight, right? Custom formalities, they are able to cut down. It means they can produce and sell just like a local manufacturer or a local producer. And it will also help generation of employment in the host country. So this is preferred by many of the countries today, and that's why you see companies like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, they are present in more than 100 countries. It's not that Pepsi and Coca-Cola are produced, they are US brands, but if you're getting, for example, Coke or Pepsi in India, these are produced in the plants which have been erected in India. So that's why a lot of capital flow happens, and there are different types of capital that flows within the country. Now you can get a 2-marker question, a short question, or a long question as well, but it's a very highly theoretical, or it's very conceptual. We have a fair idea about how this capital moves between the boundaries of different countries. So let's start with the international capital movement. Now first of all, you must know what is an aid. What is an aid or assistance? See, aid or assistance are also known as grants. Alright, grant doesn't create a burden of debt. Grant doesn't need to be paid back. Aid doesn't need to be paid back. Is you can equate it with donation. So many of the developed countries, they, in order for the underdeveloped and developing countries to grow faster, why they want to, they are going to give you a lot of grant. But the thing is, there are no free lunches in the world. So why these developed countries like US, Germany, UK are giving grant to underdeveloped economies, many in Africa and many in Asia Pacific region? India was also receiving a lot of grant from World Bank and from other independent countries. Why they want us to develop? What is in their interest? Because the thing is, if Indians do not develop, if India do not develop, India's per capita income do not increase, their living standard, it means our living standard do not increase, who will buy an iPhone? Who will eat a McDonald's burger? Who will buy a Dell laptop? Alright, if the health sector is not booming, do you think the private hospital, they'll be able to purchase big machines, whether it's a scanning or a MRI machines or a Doppler or an ultrasound machine? So it means by helping us develop, they are creating a potential source of income for themselves. It's not that we are not gaining, they are also going to gain in the long run, and we are also going to gain in the long run. So it's a kind of mutual gain that is going to happen between the host country and the country that invests or makes investment or gives debt or gives aid or grant to any country. Now foreign aid or assistance, which may be bilateral or direct intergovernment grants. It means, say for example, India also gives grant. Bilateral when two countries are involved, or intergovernmental loans, your grants which are given. For example, India had given a lot of grant to Afghanistan. India gives a lot of grant to Nepal. Now why we give this grant to these countries? For example, Nepal has been given a lot of grant. Indian government has given Nepal millions of dollars to construct hydroelectric powers, dams and other things in Nepal. What is the reason? You say, so what is the benefit of India? The benefit is that Nepal, there could be a political reason or economic reason, any reason could be. Now this is a political and geostrategic reason, I would say. Nepal acts as a buffer zone between India and China. If China's presence increases in Nepal and Nepal sides with China, then the territory of Nepal could be used to create problem for India. And in that case, India will have to put a lot of standing army. We have to keep a lot of standing army with arms, weapons. You have to create a base over there where fighter jets would be kept. That will boil into billions of dollars of expenditure every year. Thousands of crores of expenditure every year. So if government is giving some millions of dollars to Nepal so that Nepal has a good friendship with India, then Nepal will not be allowing the territory by China to be used by China for creating disturbances in India, and our sovereignty will be intact. That's why we give a lot of grant to Bhutan. That is also due to geostrategic reason. Why? Bhutan is again a buffer zone. Now the chicken neck area is a problem because it's a very big important strategic area for India. Now Bhutan has a very close friendship with India, and Bhutan in fact has signed the defense pact with India. It means the protection of Bhutan as a country is the responsibility of the Indian armed forces. So if any country attacks Bhutan, then Bhutan will be protected by the Indian Army, Indian Air Force. They will protect. Why we have done that? Because if Bhutan would have sided with China, it would have been a nightmare for India. A lot of Chinese infiltration would have happened, and a lot of geographical strategic reasons would have, China would have taken. So that's why it could be there are no free lunches in the world. So grant are given for political geostrategic reasons or for economic reasons, for any particular reasons. Grant do not need to be paid back. You don't need to. Do you think if somebody gives donation, you need to pay back the donation? No, you don't need to pay back the donation. So it doesn't create a debt. Whereas loan creates a debt, whether you have taken the loan with interest or without interest or very low rate of interest. Without interest, if one country gives loan to another country, you have to pay the principal. The principal is a debt. If you have to pay the interest, then principal plus interest is the debt. So debt is always there in the loan. It creates a liability, but grant never creates a liability because you only receive the money, you don't have to pay it back. Now, multilateral aid from many governments who pool their funds to international organizations like World Bank. There are many international banks for reconstruction and development. There are many countries, including India, are a member of World Bank. Now, these countries who are member of World Bank, as a percentage of their GDP, they have to contribute to the World Bank coffer. All right, World Bank fund, and this fund will be used for development of many countries who are least developed or underdeveloped or developing one. All right, so these are multilateral aid. It means many countries coming together to create a pool, and this pool will be used to create economic opportunities in many parts of the world. Tied aid. Now aid is given many a time, donation is given, it could be tied or untied, and untied is open-ended. For example, World Bank can give us a multilateral debt or multilateral grant, or Japan or UK can give us also grant. India used to receive a lot of grant from UK. Now this grant could be for overall developmental purpose, so it's not tied to any economic any specific activity. But many times, if suppose UK government gives grant to India for promotion of education, it means it becomes a tied grant. It means this money received from UK cannot be used for any other developmental purpose except for promotion of education. Likewise, a grant is given to any country for promotion of agricultural activities. It means it can be used for promoting farming only. Government can use this grant to give subsidies to the farmers to buy irrigation equipments, to buy tractors, to buy fertilizers, to buy seeds, right? But it cannot be given for any other purpose. So that is known as a tied grant. That's why you see US government, it took Pakistan to task why billions of dollars of grant was given by US to Pakistan for development of education, drinking water facility, electrification, but this was used to promote terrorist activities against India. So when India complained to USC, what is happening? Basically, you are promoting terrorism in India because you are giving fund to Pakistan, and then Pakistan using that fund to promote ISI activities, and these terrorists are getting the much required funding. That is, the funding is nothing but the blood you are giving to somebody. So you are giving them the blood with the oxygen to create problem for India. So you are adding fuel to fire. So US took Pakistan to task and stopped the funding to Pakistan. Imran Khan said, no problem, we don't need your funding. But after that, what happened? There was no money available for developmental purpose in Pakistan. Then Pakistan fall back on its knees and said, okay, no problem, we'll not use it for doing anything against India. So there's a tied aid, strict mandates regarding the use of money, or untied where there are no such stipulations are there. Foreign grants, which are voluntary transfer of resources by government institutions, agencies or other organization. All right, voluntary transfer. You don't ask it, they will give us. India is not going to ask for the grant, it will be given the grant. For example, in 2010, the World Bank gave India around $2 billion for promotion of agricultural activities in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand. All right, so it can be used for only agricultural purposes. Borrowings. Now borrowings will create a debt. Whether you take a soft loan is one loan that is taken with a very low rate of interest. There is nothing like hard loan. All right, either this is a soft loan or the loan taken at a market rate of interest. So direct intergovernment loans, Indian government can also take a loan from other countries. For example, Indian government has taken a loan from the Bank of Japan for the construction of bullet trains in India. Now this loan have to be paid up, whether with a low rate of interest or high rate of interest or no interest, but this loan have to be paid up in a span of 20 years. Loans from international institutions like World Bank, IMF and ADB, Asian Development Bank. You can also take loan. IMF generally provides short-term loans if there is a balance of payment crisis. It means you don't have money to import any the goods and services. So then IMF will give. For long-term purposes, World Bank can give or Asian Development Bank can give you. Soft loans from affiliates of World Bank like International Development Agency or Association we call it. It is known as soft lending arm of the World Bank. It gives loans to least developed countries at a very low rate of interest. External commercial, it means for commercial purposes also, either the government or any financial institution can borrow from any international institution. So for the commercial purposes you are borrowing. And trade credit facilities, all right. Even trade credit facilities are given wherein if we don't have the dollars to pay right now to you, then a trade credit will be given, and using that trade credit you can, whichever country gives you the trade credit, for example US gives the trade credit to India, it means we can use this trade credit to import anything from US. The payment will come later on. It's just like you can say in simplest term the bills of exchange kind of thing, wherein the transfer of goods have taken place but the payment obligation will come at some later rate on in future. That is trade credit. Deposit, now we are looking at how inflows can happen. Inflows can also happen deposit by non-resident Indians. You become CA, you may also get a placement in Dubai in some company. You are earning in Dubai, your parents are living in India, all right. You have to send them money back to India. Some of the money you will consume there, some of the money you will send back. It is known as remittance. So you will have to open a foreign bank account in India where you can send dollars, or you can send what you call it, AED you call it, that's the name of the currency in Dubai. You can, and it will be converted into Indian currency when it lands here on that particular day's rate, and then your parents can withdraw that money. All right. Then investment, largely we'll be studying about what is known as foreign portfolio investment and foreign direct investment. We'll be studying, focusing more and more on this, because if you get a long question in this particular unit, you'll be getting from these two things. Now, what is a portfolio? You see, in the concept of money demand, we studied about Tobin's theory, optimal portfolio structure. Portfolio is nothing but a list of investment that a person has. For example, if I have a portfolio, in that portfolio, I will include various types or modes of investment. I may, invest in some equity, invest in some government bonds, invest in some corporate bonds, invest in some ETF, all right, exchange traded fund, and some, they can be so many things. Bank FD can also. So when I make this entire things, I collect this thing, that is known as portfolio. So likewise, foreign institutions. Who are these foreign institutions? We call it foreign institutional investors. Who are these foreign institutional investors? It could be big banks, investment banks, payment banks, or any other company, mutual fund companies, all right, who have, or asset management company. It could be any company who will use the money to buy various instruments, financial instruments from some other country. For example, Bank of America purchasing equity shares of Tata Motors from the Indian stock market. All right. So that's an FII. So just like an individual in India, I think that if the price of Tata Motors is going to increase and consistently it's going to give me dividend, then I will buy and hold this equity share. But I can sell it anyway, at any time possible. So likewise, the foreign institutional investors also makes a portfolio. All right, like any foreign institution, any foreign bank, mutual fund companies, they will say, okay, India is on the growth path. Let's purchase some financial instruments from India. So let's make a portfolio. So they are foreign institutional investors and they are creating a portfolio in India. So they will buy equity shares of various companies, not one company. They will buy exchange traded fund. They will also buy government bonds. They will also buy government bonds, so they will create a portfolio. As opposed to what is foreign direct investment. See, foreign direct investment is when a foreign firm, invests or goes to another host country for the purpose of making a long-term investment. That is the difference. Foreign firm, for example, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, or Nike, or Apple, or Tesla. They say that I don't want to export to India, I want to go there and produce. So what will happen? With the money, with their capital, with their technology and expertise and know-how, they will come to India with their fund. They will spend this money in India and they will construct their plant in India. Alright. They will use most of the resources which are available within the domestic territory of the country, and they will produce and sell just like a domestic seller. Just like a domestic seller. For example, Vodafone is an FDI into India, whereas Bharti Airtel is an Indian company, it is not an FDI. Alright, this company originated in India. Now, tell me, what is the difference between Vodafone or Airtel from the perspective of a consumer? There is no difference. You see, Bharti Airtel is buying all the assets in India, whether it's towers or whether it's offices and stores and everything. Vodafone is doing the same. Bharti is employing Indians to work in their business, whether it's the lower or higher management, doesn't matter. Vodafone is also doing the same. Do you find any British individual working in Vodafone? No, Indians are working in Vodafone. Bharti is selling its, telecom services to Indians, to us. I can buy, you can buy, your parents can buy, anybody can buy. Vodafone is also doing the same. It means I have a choice to move from Bharti to Vodafone or Vodafone to Bharti. No difference. Same amount of GST is imposed on both the package. The government cannot say that Vodafone is a foreign firm, so 18% GST on telecom services, and Bharti is an Indian firm, so 5%. That is violation of national treatment under the WTO, as we have studied. That once the investment is made, you cannot tax, the indirect tax rate should not be different. It means if a foreign good manufactured, if a foreign company manufacturing any particular commodity in India and an Indian company manufacturing the similar commodity in India, both have to invite the same amount of GST. There cannot be different rates of taxation. It means you are paying the same rate of tax on Vodafone and on Bharti Airtel. Okay. So it means government is getting the same percentage of revenue, not the same revenue, say it depends on the sale. If Bharti is selling more, government will get more GST from Bharti. Vodafone is selling more, government will get more GST from Vodafone. As simple as that. Alright. After they have done their business, all the expenditure included, current expenditure, when you deduct all the operating cost, all indirect and direct cost, everything you deduct, what you are left with a net profit. On the net profit, Bharti also will have to pay a tax and Vodafone also may be able to pay a tax. Now in this case there is some difference because it's not a violation under the national treatment principle under WTO. It means the rate of direct taxes on a foreign company may differ from the rate of direct taxes on an Indian company, but not the indirect taxes. Alright. So tell me, from a consumer's perspective, what is the difference between a Vodafone which has come to India through an FDI and now it has merged with Idea? It means it has come as an independent entity with an investment in India providing services to Indian consumers, and they have merged with an Indian company. So from the consumer's perspective, there is no difference. The difference is after payment of taxes, whatever the profit is left, Bharti's profit will belong to the shareholders in India, alright, will belong to the shareholders in India, whereas Vodafone will take some of the profit out of the country to pay to the shareholders who are in UK. That is the only difference. Alright, clear. So that's the difference between foreign portfolio investment and foreign direct investment. I hope that's clear to you, but that's not it. they can ask you the difference between it. Let's go into it further, dig into it further. Foreign direct investment, you see, foreign direct investment is an investment made by a company or individual in one country in business interests in another country. Tesla belongs to US, but it has got business interest in Netherlands, in Denmark, and very soon it will start manufacturing in India if Government of India permits, in the form of either establishing operation, business operation, acquiring business assets in another country, such as ownership of controlling interest in a foreign company. Alright, they can also come and they can end up acquiring to the extent allowed by the government, because there are FDI limit in various sectors. Alright, according to Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD is a group of emerging countries. FDI must involve acquisition of more than 10% of the shares of the target company. Now this is not a hard and fast rule, but generally FDI happens for more than 10%. Foreign direct investors may be individuals, incorporated or incorporated private or public enterprises, associated group of individuals or enterprises, governments or government agencies, states or trust. It could be anything. Any of these entities which are belonging to one country can make an investment through FDI in another country, in the host country. FDI are real investment in factories, assets, land, inventories, and involving foreign ownership of production facilities. Now, what do you mean here is by this? You see, forget about FDI and FII. If I have, say, for example, 100 crore rupees, now I can use this 100 crore rupees to generate more wealth for me in future in two different ways. First one is start a new business. Alright, whether it's any business you start, it means for that you have to buy a piece of land, put up your plant, where the factories are there. If it's an IT firm, then you have to rent a building or construct a building on it. I mean, in the service sector, I'm telling you, you have to now you need to take a loan as well sometime, because your money may not be sufficient, correct? So you have to purchase a lot of assets and then you start doing business, and there is risk involved in both the things. The first thing that I've told. Now tell me, when you start any business, a business is always considered as a going concern. You don't have an end date in mind that, okay, do you have an end date in mind? You started a business, you set up a cold drink manufacturing plant. Do you have an end date in mind? Okay, in 5 years I'll shut down the plant, sell away all the assets. No. That's why it's considered as a going concern till the time you are able to generate profit, you will continue. If your losses increases significantly and it erodes your capital and you cannot continue further, then you will shut down. For example, when Jet Airways started operations in India, do you think Jet Airways had an end date in mind? That by in the year 2016, I will shut down. In the year 2016-17, I'll shut down. No, they never dreamt. If they knew about it, they would have not started the business. So you don't have an end date. So it means when you are investing when you are using your money to construct assets, to buy capital assets and do business, incur capital cost, incur recurring cost, that is current cost, then you want to continue for as long as possible. And when you want to shut down, do you think business shutting down is easy? You have to file for bankruptcy. If your liabilities are not sufficient, if your assets are not sufficient to cover all the liabilities, then after the sale of all the asset in a structured manner, all the liabilities will have to be taken care of. Secured creditors, then unsecured creditors. In the end, only the equity shareholders will get the money if something is left. Right? So that is an FDI. So it's a long term. I can do this with my 100 crore rupees. Alright, I can start a business. Second option is, why to take this risk of starting a business? I don't want to, go to office all day, think about what is the rate of GST, this and that, bribe the government departments and this and that. I don't want to do this. Hiring labor, I don't want to fall into this. What I'll do, there are already properly managed company in India. Reliance Industries, ITC, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Auto, Maruti, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Coforge, Tata Motors, these companies are not going to shut down. Maybe one can shut down, all will not shut down. So what I'll do now, I will use this 10 crore rupees to buy equities of these companies. I can buy equities, I can buy bonds, corporate bonds, anything I can buy. So it means what I'm doing now, I am not taking the burden of running the business, I'm investing in already running business. So in that case, if I have always a target in mind, now what I'll do here, I can gain in two ways. First, whenever the company distribute dividends, I will receive the dividend till the time I'm holding the share. If there is a bonus issue, I will receive extra equity share. If there is a rights issue, I will accept, I will get shares at a highly discounted price. Clear? And on top of that, if the market price of the share appreciates in the long run, then I will get capital gain from there. So why take the burden of starting a new business? Buy into already running business. Clear? So the first one is long term, the next one is short term. Why short term? Because if I find that okay, the Tata Motors have given me enough profit, it has increased by 50% since my investment, now it is not rising up any further. I will withdraw my investment with the profit of course and use this money to buy some other equity share into a company which has more potential for growth. This way I can help my businesses to grow. Now you tell me, how long will it take me to sell the equity share of a company? I will log into my demat account, press an order, sell, and it's sold. If it's too much of a value of the share, then I will have to intimate the National Stock Exchange that I'm going to sell this. So they will validate it from their end, and in one day time your shares will be sold. But do you think when you're running a business, is it possible to sell all the assets to pay up the liabilities in one day time? The answer is no. So that is the difference between FDI and FII when you relate it to the to the flow of capital. Likewise, a foreign firm has the option to start a business in India. So they will come to India with their capital, they will buy the asset in India, they will buy other resources in India, they will employ Indian people, and they will manufacture and sell in India. That is an FDI. That is a long term. That is a long term. They have not come here to with an end date in mind. But if a foreign firm is buying into equity into Indian companies, or buying into bonds or debentures or pref shares of Indian companies, then their perspective is never long term. They may not have an end date in mind, but they have some level. They say that okay, any equity share that gives me 30% return, I will exit from there and buy another good share into another good company. Or if I find that Indian economy is not going to increase for at least 2-3 years, it is slipping into recessionary cycle is going to, I will withdraw all my money and put in some other economy. Let's say Indonesia is going to grow up, so that money will flow to Indonesia. Now how long will it take for foreign institutional investors to sell all the financial assets in India? They can do it through the capital market in just a minute and invest in other companies in other countries. Correct. That's why FIIs are known as hot money, because then it can fly in and fly out of the country very quickly. You see, most of the time when the stock market in India has corrected or has gone down, it is because at first it is the FIIs that start selling, the price starts to go down, DIIs panic, they start to sell, the price further goes down, and retail investors are trapped. They have to also go for panic selling and the stock market crashes. So that's why when government allows foreign investment, government's priority only, or sorry, not only, the government's priority, first priority, you come here in India through FDI. So if suppose in the insurance sector government is allowing FDI, government is allowing foreign investment, government can allow 40-45% through FDI route, 5% through FII. It means you can purchase the equity shares of already existing companies. All right. So when through FDI, if a foreign company comes to India, it collaborates, it may start its own business if it's allowed to. If it's not allowed to, for example, in the insurance sector, 49% FDI is allowed. It means a foreign firm cannot start a standalone Indian insurance company. They have to necessarily collaborate with an Indian insurance company by purchasing 49% of the stake from the market and the promoters. So 49%. It means that's why you will never find a standalone foreign insurance company in India. You can have a standalone Indian insurance company in India, but a standalone foreign insurance company in India will only happen if government allows 100% FDI. So it means if any firm, foreign firm like Allianz, they have to start selling insurance services in India, they have to collaborate with already existing insurance companies. Or they will have to collaborate with some companies and together they can start a business wherein Indian company will own 51% of the equity and they will own 49% of the equity. That's why you have Bajaj, Allianz. Only Bajaj can be there, only Allianz is not possible, both can be there. You have ICICI and Prudential, only Prudential will not be there. You have Tata AIG, only AIG is not possible, only Tata Insurance is possible. Alright, clear. So this way what happens, Indian companies can get a boost of finance for a foreign firm and will be promote competition when individual foreign giants they collaborate with individual Indian companies, that will lead to competition in the insurance sector and the premium for the general public is going to fall down. You see the insurance premium, whether it's for life insurance or medical insurance or for general insurance, have significantly reduced in the last 30 years. Why? Because of competition, because government has allowed FDI in the insurance sector, right? So the investors, when the foreign companies they invest in Indian insurance company to run the business, they become a part of the management. They can influence the management. They can take management decisions. But FIIs do not do that. FII's purpose is for hold for short time period, sell away and move out to some other equity or some other country. Right? So investors retains control over the use of invested capital and also seeks power to exercise control over decision making to the extent of their equity participation. It means they can participate in the board of directors meeting and can take decision even in the structural changes of if it's made to the companies, because they are a stakeholder in the company. They have the right to take or participate in the decision making process and vote into it. All right, I hope it's getting clear. Now FDI is, now this thing you must have studied in your strategic management. FDI can commonly be categorized as horizontal, vertical or conglomerate. Horizontal, it means same kind of businesses are bought into. For example, AIG is selling insurance in Europe. It collaborates with Indian companies who is selling insurance or starts an insurance business in India. That is horizontal. So horizontal direct investment refers to investors establishing same type of business operation in a foreign country as it operates in the home country. Alright. Honda belonging to Japan. Honda is not providing banking services. Honda is providing what? Honda is manufacturing cars. So when Honda will come to India and it will collaborate with some Indian company or individually sell cars, it will only sell cars. It means same business it is starting here. Vertical investment is, in case of vertical investment, related businesses you buy. For example, a car manufacturer is purchasing a engine manufacturing business. Alright. Tata Motors in India, if Indian companies can also go to other countries and FDI, purchasing a business in some other country for manufacturing engines. Or say for example, uh, uh, Rolls-Royce, which makes car, purchasing a division of a business which manufactures engines. Right? So it means vertical integration is happening. And conglomerate is when any type of unrelated businesses are preferred into, invested into unrelated businesses. For example, Bharti is a telecom company. If Bharti starts selling insurance in some other country, then an Indian company has invested abroad, that is known as overseas direct investment by an Indian company. But likewise, if suppose, let's say, if JP Morgan is a financial firm. Now, if it purchases any businesses in India which is selling a car, unrelated business, that becomes a conglomerate. Alright. Nestle is a foreign brand which is into FMCG. But if Nestle starts to sell, say for example, medicine, which is not an FMCG product in India, it starts a business in India to sell medicine, or it collaborate with Dr. Reddy's and purchase 49% stake in Indian companies, that is a conglomerate, because Nestle is not into manufacturing of medicine, it is into manufacturing of FMCG products like Maggi. right? So this all you have an idea, you have already studied in your strategic management. Now foreign portfolio investment, as I've told you, what foreign portfolio investment, portfolio is a list of so many instruments that a foreign investor can invest into in some other country. A foreign institutional investor is an investor or investment fund registered in country outside in which it is investing. All right, registered outside. It means if suppose Warren Buffett's company, which is registered in US, Berkshire Hathaway, they also purchase a lot of instruments from Indian market, right? And Berkshire Hathaway is not listed in India, it's listed in US, registered in US. Institutional investors most notably include hedge funds, insurance companies, pension fund and mutual fund companies. All right, these companies, they belong to some other country and they invest in some other host country. FI in general moves into investment into financial stocks, bonds and other financial instruments. It means they do not buy any physical asset, they simply buy the financial instruments, and it's affected largely by individual institutions through mechanism of capital market. Obviously you're going to buy these financial instruments from the capital market only, right? Such investors do not have any intention of exercising voting right. Tell me, many of you may be holding some equity share of some companies. Do you go ever even attend a shareholder meeting? I'm holding so many equity shares of so many companies, not even one shareholder meeting I have attended. Unless I'm holding significant 2-3% of the company share, that's a different thing. All right. Now 2-3% of a share, it means you would be worth thousands and thousands of crores. That is not possible for then I'm not a retail investor. All right. So, or managing the affairs of a company whose securities they invest. They do not. They simply buy the share, earn the dividend, earn the bonus, benefit from rights issue, and they will sell at some point in time and recover their money to invest in some other thing. Foreign portfolio investment are typically in short-term nature and therefore are not intended to enhance the productive capacity of an economy by creation of capital asset. Yes, their intention is not creation. Their intention is to make money through speculation. Through speculation, as simple as that. Now the difference here is very important that you have to keep in mind. They can ask you a long question from here. The difference between FDI and FII. You see here, in the foreign direct investment side, investment involves creation of physical asset. Yes, I've given you the example. When Vodafone, Pepsi or Tesla, or Vodafone, Pepsi already come to India, when Tesla comes to India, it will set up its plant in India. Alright, they will come not with their money only, but with their money they will buy physical assets. Sometimes the company can also raise finances within India. For example, you see, many of the people, they have a misconception that Bata is an Indian company. Bata is not an Indian company. It's a foreign firm. It is one of the oldest FDI that has happened in India. And now every one of us, even our parents, during their school days have worn Bata shoes. Bata is a Canadian firm. They have invested in India. So they source their production from India, selling shoe in India, become a household name, and 99% of the Indian believe that Bata is an Indian company. In fact, Bata has raised finances, additional finances from the Indian stock market. You will find that Bata is listed in NSE and BSE also. So after some time, when Bata thought that I need to expand my business, but I cannot bring too much of foreign capital from there, let's raise the finances in India. So Bata started to borrow from the bank and Bata came up with a equity or IPO in India. Alright. So they have created physical assets and they are producing and selling in India. They can also produce in India and sell in different countries. Export. Now in foreign institutional investment is only in financial assets. Financial asset only. You are not going to buy asset. If I am buying Tata Motor shares, I am simply buying Tata Motor shares. Alright, I will not become a part of the management to take the decision, and my money will, I'm buying from existing shareholders only. No, my money is not going to the company when I'm buying an equity share. In the stock market, if I'm buying any share, only for the first time when the IPO is launched, the money goes to the company. After that, when the shares are traded, people are selling in between themselves. Right. Now, foreign direct investment is a long-term interest and therefore remain invested for long. You see, Bata, Pepsi for so long they are, and they will continue to operate till the time something happens wherein we start to follow conservative socialist policy. That's a different thing. But the thing is, they don't have an end date in mind. The only thing that they keep thinking about expanding their operation in India further. Whereas foreign portfolio investment are short-term interest and generally remain investment for short period. That's why they are sometimes known as hot money. They are very, very unstable. It can be sold at any point in time. Relatively difficult to withdraw. Yes, when Pepsi wants to leave India, so many plants worth thousands and thousands of crores they have to get rid of. Is it easy for Pepsi to say one night, no, I'm going to leave India tomorrow or day after tomorrow I'll leave India? It's not possible. It's not at all possible. Sometimes winding up the asset may take you 2-3 years because they may not be a buyer who is going to give you the price that you expect. So very difficult to withdraw. Easy to withdraw. You sit on your system, press enter, sale order executed. Now, foreign direct investment often accompanied by transfer of funds. Not only that, resources, technology, strategies, know-how, etc. Do you think when Tesla come to India, it will use Indian technology to manufacture their car? No, we don't have that technology what Tesla uses. So it will come with the money to India. Let's say if it collaborate with Bajaj don't have the potential to make electric cars. It may have in future, but you have to spend a lot of research and development for that purpose. Alright, so what will happen? Tesla will bring its own technology. It set up a separate plan with separate infrastructure. It will give different training to the people who are going to manufacture that car. It means the entire process, not only the capital but the technology and the process and know-how, everything comes. Not only money. So here you see transfer of funds only. Funds you withdraw, once you spend, funds you withdraw. Now you see businesses, I missed out this point. Foreign direct investment is not speculative in nature. Not speculative. Your purpose is to consistently generate wealth. Right? But when you invest only for a short term, it is speculative in nature. Foreign direct investment direct impact on employment and labor and wages. You see, isn't it? Many times you hear on the WhatsApp, some idiot has shared some news that if we don't consume Pepsi, if we don't buy McDonald's burgers and only buy Indian products, India will become a developed country. No, that is true for imported goods. If you consume only Indian products rather than what has been imported, then obviously you are helping your country. You are decreasing the leakages. But that is not true for FDI. For example, just let me give you an idea. If you don't consume Pepsi, alright, tell me, Pepsi sales comes down, Pepsi's profit comes down, it will shut down its plant. Now, who will lose the job? Are the US individuals losing the job or Indian working in that factory losing the job? Indian working in that factory. Now, Pepsi is not only producing that in that plant, they're using that particular plant. Only one effect is not there. There are multiplicity of effect, backward and forward linkages are there. Now, Pepsi is purchasing a lot of sugar. Alright. A bottle of Pepsi contains hell lot of sugar. Is it importing sugar from US? No. It is buying sugar from Indian sugar manufacturers. So it means Indian sugar manufacturers who are Indian companies, they will be also facing a loss in their revenue, fall in their revenue, problem. Pepsi is using transportation services to distribute the bottles of Pepsi made in one plant in one state to distribute across the length and breadth of the state. They will be losing the job. So tell me, and not only that, when Pepsi is manufacturing and selling, it is paying GST to the government. On the net profit of Pepsi in India, the government is going to receive the direct taxes. Now tell me, how is it possible when Pepsi shuts down in India because people don't consume their goods, India will become a developed country? I mean, what kind of idiotic argument is that? It can be understandable from the perspective of import, because when we are importing, then the production is happened like for example, if we are importing from China, then production has happened in China, their GDP has increased, their employment has increased, the raw materials have been purchased there, their government has received the tax revenue, and when you are importing, we are flushing out foreign exchange. So it's a bad debt. Then you can decrease consumption, no problem at all. You are absolutely correct. But when foreign firms and produce here, it generates employment and it generates additional GDP for the country, right? So you see, direct employment will provide no direct impact in employment or wages because they simply buy from the existing shareholders and sell again in the market at profit and leave. Foreign direct investment increase in country's gross domestic product. Obviously, you see, what is the definition of gross domestic product? Market value of all final goods and services produced. And when these goods are produced within the domestic territory of our country, don't you think it should be added to our country? That was the difference between GDP and GNP. Alright. Increase in capital inflow in the country only. Because only capital comes here. But here you are producing, in case of FDI, you are producing here and generating employment here. Foreign direct investment provides interest in management and control. Obviously, if AIG is collaborating with Tata to sell insurance services in India, then every decision, big or small, taken by the board will not only alone taken by Tata, but the representative of AIG will also be there in the board. So here no abiding interest in the management and control because you are buying for short term, sell in the short term. Alright. Foreign direct investment securities are held with significant degree of influence by the investor on the management of the enterprise. Yes, if SoftBank is pumping money into Paytm, SoftBank will have to keep an eye as to how Paytm performs. If it's consistently incurring losses, then SoftBank has the right to take decisions even throughout the CEO of Paytm. Alright. Securities are held with purely financial, here FIIs, investment and no significant degree of influence on the management of the enterprise. So this is very, very important. I hope you have understood this. Clear? Next. Now, factors which may discourage FDI flow into any country. Very, very important, but very, very easy to understand. Now, what can demotivate a foreign firm to invest into any other country? There can be a lot of reasons. If you don't look at this chart, simply you tell me, if government is having a restrictive policy and government doesn't give freedom to business, we are a kind of a socialist economy. If suppose we are mixed, we are mixed but we have government control, do you think any foreign firm will want to come to India? When government says you come to India, you invest, but I will tell you how to do your business, I will have control over your business, you will do what I say, do you think any foreign firm will want to invest in that case? Answer is no. If Indian government imposes a very high tax of indirect taxes and very high rate of direct taxes are there. For example, on any product, if Indian government says I will take 30% GST, and on the net profit of the company I am going to take 45% as tax, do you think a foreign firm will ever want to invest in India? Because a lot of their profit will go into taxes. What will be left for the shareholders? They will not come to India. If there is inadequate amount of resources in your country, now when an FDI comes to your country, it must have the resources present in your country. If there are no resources present, for example, a company who wants to manufacture steel, it wants to invest in India, but it finds out there is no coal available in India. Without coal, how can you manufacture steel? Because you have to, in a steel smelting plant, you have to burn coal, generate heat, and to melt steel, to refine steel. So when you come to India, set up a steel plant, coal you have to import from China. Don't you think it's better for them to go to China and set up the steel plant? Isn't it? So if there is inadequate resources in your country, then FDI will not happen, because it will create barrier for its growth. If educational level is not good in your country, is it possible for any firm to come to India and also bring all the employees from their country? Not possible. They are not willing, they will not be willing to come. So if their educational level is not good enough, you will not get good engineers, good management experts to run the business locally, then it's not a investment is not going to be a possibility. Why you see in the last 20-25 years so much of foreign investment has happened? Due to many reasons. Government has opened up, restriction has been reduced on various sectors. Government has adopted liberalized policy. Under the special economic zone, tax breaks would have been given by to many companies. A lot of land at a throwaway prices have been given, and most importantly, the level of education has increased significantly. Today we have more doctors, more engineers, more CAs, more MBAs compared to what it was 30 years back. So it means getting quality labor will be easier for any business who wants to come and operate in India. So that will motivate, but it's the other way around. There is a problem again. So language barrier can be there. You are educated but only in your own language. So it means how can you run your business if if you cannot understand that particular if you don't understand English? Is it possible if suppose all the CAs have done their have passed up their examination appearing in some other language? You have in appear, I'm not demeaning any language, okay, understood. Hindi is a good language, Tamil is a good language, whatever. Examination happens in Hindi and English. Tell me now, you have completed your paper in Hindi. You are not very proficient in English. And if suppose it happens all throughout, do you think you'll be able to adequately audit the accounts of a company? There will be a problem. There will be a problem. Inherent problem will be there. That's got nothing to do with the language. The thing is, we have to use that language which is universally used as a framework language in most of the world. That is English. Alright. So language barrier could be there. Then there is a problem. Poverty. If most of the people are poor in your country, who will consume? If suppose Pepsi wants to come to India to manufacture, Apple wants to come to India to manufacture, but 90% of people are below the poverty line. Who will buy your product? If there are no consumers, there is no demand, you will set up a factory and you will have inventory. You will be doomed. So that is a problem. If the living standard is not increasing, if the GDP is not increasing, if there is a decline in the growth and if there is a negative growth, then the business will avoid those countries. Next, if the country is very big, very huge population, it means more population, more consumers. And more consumers, more demand, more sales, more revenue, more profit. That's why big companies today, whether it's a European firm or a US firm, they are crazy to come to India. They're crazy to come to India. Why? Because population per capita income is slowly, maybe slowly, but it is increasing. It is increasing. I'm not talking about the short term in the last 2 years or 3 years what has happened. The long term trend is high. The short term can up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down can happen. There is a long cycle and a short cycle. Short cycle we can go through a recession for around 1 or 2 years. But eventually we will recover. So they will want to come. But if the GDP is going down, then there is a problem. Alright. If there is less population, then there is a problem. Who will buy your product? So they are not interested go to countries with less population because how can they sell? Clear? Alright. That could also be a nightmare for a business. If suppose there is high rate of inflation in your country, it means the purchasing power has reduced for money. People have a very high cost of living and they spend 90% of their income in buying basic necessities. Only 10% of the disposable income is left. Will they be able to consume anything extra in that case? No. So high rate of inflation, then again the foreign investment may not happen. Clear? So let's look at now. Logically you can write these points. You don't have to remember all the points logically. So host country is discouraging the inflow of foreign investment and infrastructure lags. If there is infrastructure lags, it means you take 5 years to construct the infrastructure. Government is not having a good policy towards infrastructure. Problem. High rate of inflation I explained. Payment deficit is there. It means you have less amount of foreign exchange reserves. That can also be a problem. Poor literacy and lower labor skill. Rigidity in labor market. It means if there is a trade union very strong in any country, that country will be avoided by foreign investors because they don't want to mess around with the trade union. They can call a strike at the drop of a hat. Bureaucracy and corruption. If a company wants to invest in India, after investment, they, for every small decision, they have to go and bounce around the government departments, sorry, this permission, that permission, this license, that license. Corruption is there. Unless you pay bribe to the politician or the bureaucrat, the work will not be done. That country will also be avoided. Unfavorable tax regime and cumbersome legal formalities. Tax is very high, so you will not be able to take back the profit, enough profit to distribute to your shareholders. Your shareholder will never approve investment to be done in that country. A small size of the market, lack of potential for growth. Yes, you see, Amazon doesn't want to want to go to Bhutan. Why? What will happen if Amazon doesn't go to Bhutan? Nothing. The loss in revenue will not be even 0.0005%. But if Amazon doesn't come to India, then significant proportion of its revenue will not increase. Political instability. If there is a IR arm, GIR arm government, every 1 year some government is thrown out of power. Political instability. So when there is political instability, it means economic laws will also not be stable. One government will come, make different economic laws, another government will come, make different, another government will come, businesses will be confused. Ye kya ho raha hai? So they want to avoid those countries with political instability. Absence of well-defined property rights. Yes, you see, many of the businesses never wanted to come to India before 1991 economic reform because government said, I will nationalize your company anytime. I will take away your assets. If there is no well-defined property rights that, for example, under MIGA in the in World Bank, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, every country's government will have to give a guarantee to the other country's government that that country's investment or any company is investing in your country, that his investment is guaranteed. That is known as Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. That is the purpose of that agency, to see that is Indian government doing anything that is violating the MIGA. And if there is a violation, as it happened in the Vodafone case, UK government pulled India to the WTO and the World Bank. Then if there is a violation because Indian government went for a retrospective changes in the tax laws to impose 11,000 crore of capital gains tax when Vodafone purchased stake from Hutchison Telecom, a Hong Kong based firm. So Indian government violated the MIGA norm. So Indian government was dragged to WTO and World Bank. In World Bank there is ICSID, International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. Alright. So there was a fight out and voting was taken place, and then Indian government said, okay, we are not going to take it. Alright. If that is not well defined, then no country is going to come to you, no businesses from any country is going to come. Exchange rate volatility. I've told you export and import. If suppose you have generated profit by doing business in India and you want to take back the profit home, when you're taking back the profit home, and if the currency appreciate, if suppose you will take back in dollars, if $1 was 70 rupees, it suppose domestic currency appreciates, $1 equals to 60 rupees. So it means by paying 60,000 rupees, you can get $1,000 and you can do that. It's good. But if it depreciates, then you have to buy same amount of dollar by paying huge amount of Indian currency. So if there is quite a big fluctuation in the foreign exchange rate, then there will be a problematic situation with regard to inflow and outflow of capital. Poor track record of investment. Why do you think businesses do not want to go to Pakistan? Poor track record. Alright. Prevalence of non-tariff barriers and stringent regulation. Yes, if the government creates a lot of barriers for operations, it means the government says, yo, you can come to India, you can produce, but I will not let you to export to other countries, or not let you import even the smallest of the item from other countries. Then there is a problem, barrier you are erecting. And lack of openness. If the economy is not open, if the economy is not letting you do your business the way you want to do, if the economy is not letting you produce in India so that you can export to other countries, then that will be discouraging the flow of FDI into India. Language barriers we have seen, high rates of industrial disputes problem, security of life and property. Tell me any business do you want to go to Afghanistan to set up a factory right now? No. Morning you set up the factory, evening gone. Lack of facilities for immigration, employment and foreign technical administrative personnel. Yes, if suppose in India a firm wants to set up a vaccine production unit, but it requires constant research and development. But Indian government says no, you take Indian genetic scientist, genetic expert. I will not let you bring any foreign genetic expert. Then don't you think that country's potential, if suppose in India we don't have such expert knowledge, then that country will never be able to experiment with vital strains and other technology will not be able to adopt, it will not go there. Double taxation, if there is a double taxation, then there is a problem. It means if suppose there is what is known as double taxation avoidance agreement between countries. Agreement. It means if a profit of a company has been taxed in India, when you take back that profit, it will be not taxed in that country. In the absence of this double taxation avoidance agreement between countries, then any business coming from one country to India, country A to India, let's say it's coming, Indian government will take a tax on their net profit, and when net profit is taking back to the home country, that government will again tax, double tax. So if there is no double taxation avoidance agreement between the two countries, then the flow of capital between those countries will be significantly low. All right. So I'll wind up here. Tomorrow we'll be taking up other aspects of modes of foreign direct investment and everything, and I'll finish off the chapter and as well the unit as well as the chapter tomorrow. All right, same time tomorrow, that is from 11 to 12. See you then. Bye bye, take care, have a nice time.